Hello, hello. Sorry I'm late. Today is Thursday, so that means it's a challenge night. So I'll pick something challenging. I think I said that I was going to do a stone fish hook eventually. I might try that tonight. And maybe some other things. I'll just make a simple fish hook. If you want to see a fish hook in action, Danny Cullens already made a video recently on that. Yeah. I think he was being filmed by Rockin' Pop's Adventures or Stacy during that video, and he caught a bluegill. Let me check to see if I've got good audio. I gotta edit my last live stream video. Yeah. Let's see now. Where am I? Residual. No, that's not it. I'm trying to check my audio. That's not the right video. I gotta figure out where to get to my right video. Correct video. That's it right there. Okay. So I do have audio. All right. First step is done. Second step is to enter the video from the correct pathway so I can read the comments easily. There we go. The same rigmarole every night. Okay. So, who do we have? Chris Lithick is the first one. Hey. Lance McElwain, what's up? Chris Cox, good evening. Scott Goldsberry, hi Jack. Graylin Landry, hello. Tom Brown says hello. Lance says, I finally get to nap tomorrow. Sweet. Blades and Points, Sal is here. Hello, hello. Alan Young says hello. Here you find, says Chris. Awesome. B buses. It's good here. Alan Cole is in the house. JV, hello, Patrick and crew. Marty is here. Hello. JF Baird, audio's good. Your laughter says, hey, Jack. Chris Cox says audio is good. Feathered Frontiersman says, hi, Pat, I can hear you clear. Just broke a piece of Bombay sapphire blue glass in half. That hardly ever happens. Alan Cole says, Kerrville Sniper. What's that? Stoneface, what's up? Uncle Mike Bob, good evening. Beagler Potts finally got that obsidian into a good point. I'm just starting about a month. Sweetness. Ross Wellman is here. Hey. Dockenstein. Hello, hello. JJ in the flesh. Hey, everybody. JJ's from Germany. Let's see. Sam Drake said hi. Alan Young is here. Mike Mason is in the house. Oops. Marty, I finally got home to open your gift box. Oh, yeah. I have a gift box. Did I bring it with me? Oh, don't tell me I need to go get the gift box. Alan sent me a gift box, but I didn't bring it. I'm going to have to interrupt the live stream. Yeah. Hold on. I'll be right back. I'm going to try to do this as fast as possible. Okay? I'm going to have to do this as fast as possible. I'll be right back. I got to get a box I received in the mail. Okay? I'll be right back. Okay, here I am. I am back. It was nice having me not on the live stream, huh? Yeah, I think people were celebrating while I was not here. You guys behaved when I was gone? No? Dang it, I put the address. Alright. That's okay. We only have 41 peeps. Anyways. Oh gosh. Okay, so let me see. What did I miss? Andrew Humphrey's here. Okay, who else entered the live stream? Yeah, the skunks are out front. I put the food out a little bit late because the rain. It was raining earlier. Let's see. Was it on the back of your? Let's see. I don't know what that is. Okay, so let's do the unboxing first, I guess, right? We'll do the unboxing first. Where's my stone knife? There it is. Sorry I exposed the addresses. Not supposed to. But oh well. I think I can edit afterwards. I'm pretty sure I can edit afterwards. Maybe take that part out, clip that part out. Okay. Oh, we got something interesting right up front and center. Colorful bird feathers. Oh yes. From Alan. Okay, so let me put those with my other bird feathers. I got my other ones in there somewhere. Yeah. Okay. What is this? Oh dang, he knows me too well. And I just bought some cigars today too. I went to a new cigar shop in the town where I usually go shopping, up in Claremont, New Hampshire. They have a good smoke shop up there. Apparently, I have never seen it until now, and I've been living there a couple of years already. These are good, Alan. Dang it. They're too good for me. Yeah, how did you know that I like New World cigars? I've not tried very many of these Oliva cigars, so I'm going to try that first. But Arturo Fuente is one of my favorites. Oh, yes. So these are some of my favorites. How did you know? Okay, so I'm going to save that. Yes, we got some material. Thank you very much. It takes me about a week to smoke a cigar. Those little ones, probably take me 3 days, right? The littler ones. I don't buy Churchills, but I buy the next size down from the Churchill size, whatever that is. Toro size or something like that. It takes me a week for me to smoke a Churchill for sure, but the other ones, it varies, I guess. 5, 6, 7 days, I don't know. But I try not to smoke every week. I usually have a pause of a week. And then I'll puff on a cigar the next week, just, on and off. Give my system a chance to recuperate all the toxins. So this is what? Tiger stripe mahogany? Yeah. I don't know what you call it. I'm going to call it tiger stripe mahogany. Let's put this away. Yeah. Alan's doing the same thing I do. I like to put one of these reinforcement pieces of cardboard in the packages that I ship. Yes, because the post office priority boxes are very thin cardboard, so I usually reinforce it with another piece of cardboard in there. Okay, so let's see what we got. Very well wrapped. Take notes, boys and girls. You need to wrap the obsidian when you ship it. Very little damage when that happens. You know, when you wrap it, and if there is any damage, it's contained within the wrapping. Yeah, so you don't get glass, volcanic glass all over the place. Sweet. We got some banded obsidian. Yeah. Okay. Did you have fun listening to all that crackly sounds? Yes. Is it like triggering? Yes. Triggers the ASMR type effect or whatever it's called. All right. I don't know. So let's see. We have any questions? I need to put something on my sign. I need to fill that little void in the sign with something tonight. Yes. Eric Kitty is here. Howdy, howdy. Patrick Triple Flow, grab a flashlight. This is Triple Flow. Or this is Triple Flow. Let's see. Oh, it is Triple Flow. Dang it. It's not Tiger Stripe Mahogany. It's Triple Flow. One of my favorites. What about this other one? Is this like Midnight Lace? Surprise, surprise. Yeah. It's got transparent areas in it. So this is like Midnight Lace. I think that's what they call it when it's black and clear. Nice. Okay. Alrighty, so I'm gonna just try a simple fish hook. Now I looked it up to see if there was fish hooks made of stone actually used in North America back in the day. And the only thing that came up was fish hooks partially made of stone in like the West Coast. Yeah, West Coast Indians. And the part they would make the heavy shank part of the hook out of stone, like slate. And then they would tie on the barb with something. And the stone part was actually used as the weight also, not just the part of the hook, but it was also the weight. So you didn't need to tie on an extra weight. And they would use it for trolling. And I think trolling is just, you know, you have a bunch of lines set out and you just bait each line and then you come back and you pull them in later. You wouldn't sit there with a fishing pole, right? I think that's what trolling is. Let me see what trolling is in the context of fishing. What is trolling in the context of fishing? Trolling is a method where one or more fishing lines are baited with artificial lures, blah, 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 drawn through the water at a slow, steady speed. Well, I guess. I guess they were in their canoes or something and then pulling the hooks and lines behind their canoes. Because I said when I was doing my research, I didn't look up trolling. I thought it might have been. Let's see. Let me ask another question. What is the type of fishing where lines are tied and how do I explain this? Trot line. Yeah, I was thinking of trot line fishing or jug line. Yeah, so I got it mixed up. trolling and trot line are two different things. So I did some research, so I'm just going to make a fantasy fish hook and not a real one. Okay? Fantasy fish hook time. Out of some ranch rock. Yeah. Okay, so I gotta remember trot line and trolling are two different things. What do we have in the chat? Let's see here. Fish weirs and basket rivers, but you're talking about trot line, yeah. So, yep. You guys are way ahead of me. Alan Young, yep. Yep, you guys figured it out before I did. All right, so trolling is quite movements of vessels to give action to bait for catching fish. Okay, so the fish hooks that were made in North America were for trot line fishing. No, for trolling fishing. Okay. And the shanks were made of slate in most cases and not stone. There's very rare instances of napped stone fish hooks. So it's a fantasy type thing, but they work. If you look at Danny Collins's video on it, it actually works. He caught a big bluegill. Yeah. Using a worm on the hook. Okay. So if you want to see, go over there and see it in action. I'm just going to do a simple one, as simple as I possibly can. No fancy stuff here. I'm not in the mood to spend all night working on just one little item. I got plans. Yeah, I think I'm going to do a rock to point because I did not do a rock to point on Monday. And I think I was supposed to continue with something else tonight. Was I supposed to continue with the chicken poop, or I'll finish this off camera? Chicken poop jerk with that. I think I said I was going to finish this off camera so I don't mess it up. Yeah, I already did the hardest part anyway. You can see the hardest part of Flintknapping yesterday when I did it yesterday. Okay. I am going to try to go fishing this year. I know that I always promise stuff and never do it. I'm going to try to go fishing this year. I got my fishing license and everything. It's expensive here in Vermont. Because, well, for me, I had to buy an out-of-state license. I'm going to go fishing in New Hampshire. It's not expensive here in Vermont. It's expensive if you buy an out-of-state fishing license. So I bought one that I can fish in New Hampshire. I'm going to go fishing near my dad's old place. Yeah, there's a good fishing spot out there. And I can actually eat those fish. I don't have to worry about contamination. Here where I'm living, I'm on the Connecticut River. And it's not advisable to eat the fish, especially near the town, because there's a sewage treatment plant, but also there's been lots of contamination because of air pollution. Yeah. High concentrations of mercury due to air pollution. Yeah. So what is this material? It's raw tough stone, and I think it'll work to make a fish hook because it's going to be tough and it's not going to break. It's going to be a little bitty one. It looks like a big old piece right now, but I'm going to nap it down to a little one. I'm giving myself plenty of room just in case. But my fish hook is going to be angular, not to be confused with anglers. Let's see, it's going to have a shank that's straight, and then it's going to have a barb that's straight. And then I'm probably put a bulbous part where I can tie on the line. Okay, it's just going to be straight and straight. Easy peasy, no curves. Okay, and this part down here is going to be thick. This intersection here is going to be thick and substantial right there. Okay, and it'll be designed for the fish to swallow it, or, you know, at least get it further down into its throat before I set the hook. Yeah. I have fished with this kind of fish hook, but made of wood. And it works if you keep the line taut, which is not difficult when you're fishing with a long pole. I'm going to be using a long pole made of viburnum. So we'll see. The cane we have out here is very weak. It's actually thatching reed, so I'm not going to make a cane. I want to use local materials and all that, even though it's not local chert. I can probably get some local. I should have brought local stuff. Let's see. I've got some Onondaga and some Esopus and other local New England cherts. I think Jay Wilderness Quest Outdoors has maybe some fishing videos with stonefish hooks. I don't know. He's got some fishing videos. I know that. Is Jay in the house tonight? Let's see. Andrew Humphrey says the hardest part of Flintknapping is trying to nap like Jack Crafty. You can't nap like this? Dang. I thought everybody could nap like this. If I can do it, you can do it. Yes or no? If I'm able to do this, man, what's the problem? Other people should be able to do it super easily. If I can do this. Yeah, it took me a long time, but still. I mean, I've been doing it a while. But still, I should be able to nap like I can. I'm not super duper coordinated. I really don't like making cool stuff. I'm going to start doing it, though, because I'm going to get a keeper case going. I am going to do it. And I know I tease about stuff, but it's something I need to do for my professionalism. Yeah, I can't be no professional without keeper case. I've been put to shame by a lot of other guys. I go to a Knapping and they go, "Hey, how's it going, Pat? Got your keeper case yet?" No. What's the matter? You want people to know what you do? No, I don't. I like to keep a low profile. Yeah. Sometimes I bring extra stuff with me at the Knapping. I used to bring some sample points, and I'll work on stuff and put that stuff out for people to see while I'm at the Knapping. But usually I just work on challenge rocks when I'm at a Knapping. And commission work while I'm there. Yeah, don't get no ideas though, because I get too many requests for commission work when I'm at the Knappings. I get overwhelmed. And sometimes I got to bring my homework home. Yeah, I'll get to it when I get home. Yeah, don't worry. I might have to bring it to you at the next Knapping. That might take me a whole year to get to it. That kind of thing. All right, so what am I going to do? Let's start heading toward the shape of the fish hook, shall we? Yes, let's shall. I just reduced it down to see if we got good quality material, and this looks like it's good. Okay. Kai is here. Danny Collins has a video up on catching a fish with a stone hook that he napped. Yes, he does. No Jay in the house yet. Okay. Stone hook, by coincidence, he made some videos, or a video, right? Did a couple of live streams on making fish hooks. Okay. I need to watch those. Stone hook, or Terry has made a couple videos on it. All right, I need to go over there and see that. Yes. When I go fishing, I like to fish for perch and bluegill. I think, and sunfish, panfish also. I don't think there's, I gotta look up the bag limits on the panfish, on the sunfish. I don't think there's a daily bag limit on some of those fish. Those are my favorite, when I don't have to worry about the bag limit. If I catch something big, I'll just throw it back. As far as other species, but I'll keep all the panfish. Whatever the regulations are. All right, that's my favorite. I like frying up the panfish. Funny how that works out. I like putting the panfish in the pan. So yeah, I'll just take my time. This kind of delicate flint napping takes time. People want to see how to do it. It's okay. You're going to see long, tedious napping sessions. I'm using 3/8 inch rod. I need to have a way to post that every video. The tools that I'm using. It just takes, I don't like spending any time editing. No. So my editing is just limited to cut and paste, cut and paste, cut and paste. If I have to do too much cutting and pasting, I don't like it. Maybe one or two things. I don't like having to specify what my tool is every single video. I'm gonna write it down somewhere, but then I gotta keep track of a little sign. I don't want to put like 3/8 and 5/16 up here on the sign. Let's see. But I will, okay? Just for you guys. I'll do it for my peeps. Okay? And 16th diameter. Okay, 3/8 and 5/16 inches. There's always a question on that. Always. You guys should be able to learn to figure it out just by looking at it. So this one's a 3/8. Yeah. Because it doesn't look like a 5/16. How do I know it's 3/8? Because it doesn't look like 5/16. I don't even have to measure it. So I'm going to get the basic shape, and then I'm going to pressure flake into a fish hook. Yes. This is very tough. Sure. Which is good, but it's got to be hit really, really hard. And you're going to have a little bulbous end to one end. And these, you can make them any size, I guess. Make them on flakes. And these have some weight to them, but not much. When I go fishing, I usually have to add an extra weight onto it. I like fishing with a pole, just like a long pole with just a little bit of line on it. That's it. No fancy reels or anything. I really don't like fishing with a lot of fancy equipment. I mean, I have done that before, and it's kind of fun, yes, but it gets to the point where I'm just going to catch some fish, and that's it. I don't have to be all fancy about it. Besides, if I'm not fancy, something breaks or whatever, I'm not all heartbroken. I used to get heartbroken because my reels would get all messed up. Well, I'm just not going to use no reels no more. Yeah. I used to get all upset because when I would cast the line out, I would make mistakes and cast them into trees or whatever, or weeds. Get all upset that my casting skills are not that good. So I'm not going to cast anymore. I'm just going to put it on the end of put the hook on the end of a short line and use a long pole. That's it. No more casting. And then go after certain kinds of fish with certain kinds of lures, and got to keep track of the lures and have a tackle box and have my fish guide, my regulations and all that handy. A little pamphlet of regulations and all my equipment to measure the fish and store the fish. Heck with all that stuff. I'm just going to have a pole, a little container with worms, and a bucket with water. Catch me some panfish and go home. That's it. I don't need no. If I don't have to worry about bag limits on certain fish, I just memorize that one fish that has no bag limits, and that's the only one I keep. Everything else goes back in. Easy peasy. Keep the one with no bag limits. No size limit. I think there's always a size limit, but we'll see. And then my fishing license. That's it. My pole, my line, my bait, my bucket, and my fishing license, and I'm all set. That's it. That's the way I like to fish, because it's relaxing. I like to relax. Let's see here. So no one's listening. No one's commenting on what I'm commenting on. Okay, so I got this down to a, basic shape, I suppose. Now we shall pressure flake. Pressure flake the shank first. Have I made these before? Yeah, I used to make stuff on commission basis, and I think I got a commission to make some fish hooks one time. This is how I did it. I'm thinking I remember that. I'm trying to remember if I actually did a video on it. I don't think I did. Let's see if my new pads are going to work for this. Let me put my other glasses on so we can see what I'm doing up close. Yes, yes. Fantastic, fantastic, wonderful, wonderful, and tremendous. All right, so we get right in up close. I like this. This is Texas translucent wrench rock. Yeah. So I'm going to make the shank as straight as possible. The edge as straight as possible. This is very persnickety type flint knapping. You want to make it as consistent in thickness as possible so it remains strong and there's no weak spots. And I'm going to be dulling the inside of the hook so it doesn't cut at all on the inside of the barb or whatever. You want to dull everything except the point of the hook. And there's some other guys on YouTube that have made fish hooks from oyster shell and stuff. That's what the Native Americans would make fish hooks out of. Seashells and mussel shells and stuff like that. Shells. But they would grind it. Okay, so if you're just joining us, this type of fish hook made of stone is a fantasy hook. They don't exist in the archaeological record. The kind that I'm going to make right now. Now there are some that have been found that are made of stone, but usually it's a composite type of situation where the stone just provides the shank part and not the barb part. Okay? Get it? The barb is usually separate on Native American fish hooks in North America. Okay? All right. But it does work, right? You can make them so they work. Out of stone, yes. Stone hooks about to crash the party? I hope so. That'll be neat. That'll be cool. That'll be fun. The hard part is getting this nice and thin and narrow so it'll fit in the fish's mouth. I usually use small, tiny hooks when I go fishing for panfish, obviously. So this is going to be kind of tiny. Yeah. It'll start off kind of big and then, well, I can just do whatever I want. I don't have to use it. No, I don't have to use this fish hook at all. I can make another one that I'm going to use. And I'll just show the one that I'm actually going to use. This one's probably too big for the fish I want. Perch and panfish have little tiny mouths, so you need little tiny fish hooks. I'm not going to be fishing for bass or anything like that. And if I catch one, I just throw it back. I'll try to get something on video before the winter gets here. We'll see what happens because I still got to get ready for my trip to Texas. I'm gonna try to bring my trailer this time. I got to make sure that's all taken care of. I have not got license plates for my trailer yet, or a license plate. I have to go down to the DMV, get that, and then make sure all the tires are good. I got a spare tire that I bought for the trailer. It's mounted on the trailer also. So I learned I have to have a spare tire. It's better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. I have not needed it Every time I buy a spare tire for a trailer, I have not needed it. So that's good. That's the way I like it. Trailer maintenance fund for Brady, says JV. $19.99. Thank you. Thank you very much. That'll come in handy. Yes. What am I going to use a trailer for? This time I'm going to act like a professional napper and pick up some real stones this time. That I will need a trailer to haul the stone, so I can be like a professional. Yeah. Them professionals, they use trailers to haul their stones. Yep. So that's what I'm going to do. Now I suppose the shank can be any length I want. It's very lightweight. I'm going to have a separate sinker. It's not going to be sufficient to be the whole weight, but we'll see. How many grains is this right now? It's going to be a half as much. When I finish, I'll weigh it again. But I don't think it's going to be. I think it's going to be less than 10 grains when I finish. Right now it's like 22.5 grains. Yeah, it's going to be half of this weight when I finish. Okay. Mike Mason says he does not think he's going to Brady. Let's see. Happened is in October. It's October 14th or something. I gotta check my calendar. Let me see, just so I don't make a mistake. I think I got the latest one. I posted the latest one in the community. So let's go to the community. The latest update. It is October 15th through 18th. Richards Park Pavilion, Brady, Texas. Admission fee $25 per person, covers the entire weekend. And that includes the lunch, I believe. Saturday lunch. Plates are $25 each. And I don't know if that's separate. There's RV sites and all that kind of stuff. But October 15th through 18th at Richards Park Pavilion, Brady, Texas. I'll be there. Yep. I'm going to get there early too, so I can do some Flintknapping before the napping starts, so I can get something done. Yeah. Last time all I did was buy faces. I had to do some last minute napping to get something for the auction done. But if I get the napping done before the auction, before the weekend, I don't have to worry about it. And I might even display some of that stuff. I'm not going to sell it, because that's for the auction, but at least I can have something for display. Wait a second, I already got a sharpened one. Yeah, just looking for another. I keep 2 pressure flakers these days. Yep, one in reserve, just for such an occasion as this. Now these pads are kind of flat. I'm going to have to sand down the sides a little bit, because I'm seeing that I didn't sand these down to make them domed. Nope. Guess I was in a hurry or something. or the middle is more flat than I thought. I did round off some of this, but not enough apparently. Let's see. I need to make sure it's rounded because I'm going to mess this up. With a delicate area on the fish hook, it's going to snap if I nap it on a flat. It's got to be domed, or I will snap it. So I'll use my stone knife to dome it a little bit. Yes, yes. Messing up my stuff, my towel. All right, so see, it has to be domed so I don't bridge it and snap off the stem or the shank, snap off the barb. I can't be snapping these things off. Okay, so let's see, I gotta get used to my new pads. And I think a long shank on this is not a good idea, now that I think about it. I think a shorter shank is a better idea. But we'll just go with the flow for now. Yeah, because this can break. So the shorter the better, I think, on the shank. So doing the barb is just like doing a deep notch. And yeah, I gotta be careful when I do this. And I was saying earlier, this inside part of the hook has to be dulled. Make sure it's dull so it's not cutting the fish's mouth. If it's sharp down in here, it's going to rip itself out easily. It's got to be dull everywhere except the very tip of that. It can be sharp on the outside, I think, too, but on the inside, it cannot be sharp at all, anywhere along the inside. And this has to be robust because it can break. This thing can break easily. So it has to be robust. But it also has to be sharp enough to catch. And long enough to stay catched. And the smoother it is, the less wonky it is, the stronger it is. So you don't want to make these things out of obsidian. Nope, nope. Obsidian will break. So I'm going to taper this down both in thickness and in width. I think it'll be stronger if it's tapered. And it's got to be easy to bait also. It can't be too thick, because if it's too thick, the bait's not going to be able to be placed on here very easily. So I guess that's it. Grind everything except for the barb. Leave a little bulbous area to tie it. And I guess the only thing left is just to experiment with it, see if that's too big for the fish I want. And just adjust it. I'm pretty sure this is too big for the panfish I want to catch. Yeah. And I might have to change the angle of this barb, but that's going to be my first attempt. I'm going to make a smaller one, I think, for the actual fishing. Yeah. And probably with a shorter shank on this, on another one. But this is more like a modern looking type of fish hook that people can recognize as a fish hook. Yeah. So you want to dull everything like around where the string is going to be attached and all that. You don't want it to cut the string. You also don't want it to cut its way out of the fish's mouth, so you need to dull the inside of the barb. This inside has to be very dull. You don't want any of this to cut the fish's mouth. And you don't want the shank to cut the string at all. This down here, I don't know. Doesn't have to be dull, I don't think. Dulling it also makes it a little bit stronger. And everything has to be very persnickety. The more smooth everything is, the stronger it is. So you don't have like these stress points where the stress becomes concentrated because it's too thick or too thin in some areas. Okay. So on the ones that I'm going to be using for fishing, I think they'll be like half of this size. And then I'll make a bunch because I have a feeling that I'm going to break some when I go fishing. And I'll need a separate weight to weigh these down when I'm fishing. These are not heavy enough. $14 grains. But I think I'm going to go down to maybe half that size, 7 grains for the fish hooks that I'm going to be using. But I'll be using the same kind of stuff, this translucent raw Texas chert. Yeah. So that's it. Yeah, and I can make it bigger, but I'm going to be going for panfish. I'm not going to be going for bigger fish. If it's a bigger fish, I can put more of a curve in that. I can probably put a little barb inside the barb. But I'm not going for big fish. Yeah. That's sharp. In this intersection here, I like to have it thick. See this? And not rounded here. I like to have it thick there so that this doesn't snap off. If this is going to snap, it'll snap crosswise. And I could also make this barb not aligned with this shank. I can make it tilted to either side. Like the real ones. They're not perfectly in line like this, right? A real fish hook is off to the side slightly. Barnett says, I wonder if they would have tied the bait to the hook on the actual hooks they made since they were so thick. Maybe, yes. I think Stone Hook mentions that you can fish without bait on some of these stone hooks, depending on how hungry the fish are. But I don't know. Kind of looks like a swoosh, yeah. But that's how I make them. Yeah. Yeah, offset. The real hooks are offset slightly, right? To either side. And if I were to make a bigger one, I would be able to put a barb inside the barb, going the other way. Let's see. You know what I mean? So I can make a stone fish hook that would have a barb inside the barb. Maybe deeper right here. If it was bigger. I could do that if it was bigger. But these little barbs are very delicate, so they probably break off. But I like to have this area right here thick, because that's where it's going to break. That area has to be thick. Both you know, cross section and you know, on the face. And the ones made of shell, they look similar to this. Okay? All right. The ones that are made in the, like the Northwest United States, pre-Columbian, made of seashell. And some of them are composite with slate as the shank, but much longer and thicker for bigger fish. Yeah. So there you go. You can buy it at the auction. All right, so what else are we going to do? I'm going to clean up a little bit. Let's see, 1 hour's passed. Perfect timing. Second half. We're at halftime right now. What are we going to do for halftime entertainment? I don't know. Shall we look at other live streams for a halftime entertainment? How much do the bids start at? They start at anything you want. Sometimes the bids start at $5. But where I'm not selling this tonight, this is going to be in the auction on Monday, this coming Monday. I don't sell anything on live streams. And I don't set a start price. You guys set the start prices and the ending prices. Let me see. Yeah. You can purchase my work, but only on Mondays from, I would say 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern time. I'm supposed to upload the auction at 6 p.m. Eastern, but a lot of times I'm late. So that's why I say 7 to 9 p.m. It's just a video, and you bid in the comment section, and I declare the winners at 9 p.m. Eastern. 8 Central, 7 Mountain, 6 Pacific. Ken Winton is here. The hook is a beautiful art piece. Yeah, it's just very simple. I didn't put a barb inside the barb. It's just a very simple piece. Yeah. But thanks. Let's see. What else? Any questions? Shall we look at other live streams? It could be used as a harpoon head as well. I suppose. I don't know. If it's big enough. Whatever happened to catching stuff by hand? I don't know. I do not know. Gonna have to have a fat worm. Oh, we got lots of fat worms here. Oh, yes. Besides, like was said earlier, I could tie the bait onto the hook. Yeah. I can use a long horsehair. I can buy some horsehair and make some fishing line and all that from horsehair. Fox says, I've been wanting to learn knapping. Any advice on starting? What material is easiest to learn with and cheap? Oh, well, let's see. All those questions are very difficult to answer. Yeah. Just watch my videos. I have over 2,000 videos. Okay. The advice is just start watching more videos. The easiest material to work with and to learn on and cheap has already been wiped out of the market many years ago. So now there's nothing good to start with and nothing cheap. How's that? That's true. Okay. You have to attend nap-ins. I say you have to. If you're serious about it, yes. If you're not that serious and you just want to take up flint napping as a hobby, start with glass. I know people don't like it. Start with broken glass from the trash, and you can use a glass cutter to cut some of that too. Start with glass. Glass is still the cheapest and easiest way to get into flint napping. But you'll get burnt out on glass very fast. That's why rock prices are now highly expensive, because people are dying for rocks and there's not much of a supply until someone starts mining it. Very soon, if there's enough demand, someone's going to start mining with heavy equipment, and then rock prices probably will go down. But it also depends on how expensive it is to mine it. It may become very expensive to mine it as well. Paul Jester says, I got my new nap. Yeah, wiped off the market. You can't buy cheap, good stone anymore for beginners, because the cheap, good stone has become expensive because everybody wants it. So now it's no longer cheap and good. Yeah, they're selling lesser quality materials for higher prices because it's so much in demand. I've tried fishing with a stone fish hook, yes. It was too big with the one I tried before. So I'm going to make some smaller ones. I'm going to make some that are half this size, and I'm going to be fishing for panfish. All right, with worms and a long pole and just a single piece of line that's with no casting involved or nothing. Joby says, okay, do you have any large flint knives? Yeah, I have some large flint knives, but I don't know what you would call large. I mean, the largest I have right now, I have these bifaces and stuff like this that I make into knives. My knives are usually 5 inches long or shorter as far as blades go. Like this. These will be made into blades with notches for my auction. These are less than 5 inches. So people, when they say large, they usually are thinking 6 inches or more. Mine are 5 inches or less. Okay. If you want large pieces, you go over to Gulf Coast Knapping. I think he has the largest pieces. Danny Collins might have some, but probably not finished pieces. But Gulf Coast Knapping specializes in the large blades. Gulf Coast Knapping. Jake. Sometimes you'll see him on the chat. Excellent large blade napper. He is a wizard with the bopper. I have no idea how he does it. Let's see. Who received the gift membership? Guess who? I don't know. I do not know. There used to be a time where you could buy cheap rock from rock sellers that was pretty good for beginners, but now you cannot. You can pick up free flakes sometimes, but even that's getting harder and harder to do, because people are actually having to pay money for their materials, and they save all their flakes also. Make the hook weedless. Yeah, just don't fish near the weeds. Very light considering it's rock. Yeah, 14 grains, and I'm going to go half that. I'm probably going to be fishing with hooks that are less than 10 grains each. Scroll up to the big green box. Let's see. It doesn't scroll far enough. I can't see. Let me see if I can scroll on a different avenue here. See if I open it in this format. Top fans. It's interesting. I might be able to scroll further on this format. No, it only goes back so far. I can't go all the way back. Is this based on artifact? No, there is no stone hook artifacts like this. There are no stone hook artifacts like this. This is a fantasy stone fish hook. There are similar ones, but they're composites. They're made of two different pieces. The shank and the barb are two different pieces. At least in North America, they don't make them, or they did not make them out of stone. Okay, this is a fantasy fish hook. But it works. But I think Native Americans would rather use the stone for arrowheads and knives rather than fish hooks. So I don't know who got the gift membership because I can't scroll back that far. Sorry about that. Sal got the gift membership. Sweet. Joby says, I'm looking for a flint blade. Even the handle, it's made out of one piece. You want, okay. Sometimes I make those, but it's rare. Yeah. And I don't make them by request. I make them if it happens to be something that I'm in the mood for doing. Yeah. But yeah, check with Gulf Coast Knapping. He might have something that's just one piece. Let's see. I think a piece of wood would be better for the fish hook. Yeah, that's what they used to be made out of. I make a lot of knives, says Aaron Estes. Yeah. Aaron, his name's Bobby here. His name's Aaron Estes, or maybe his full name is Bobby Aaron Estes. He makes knives, yeah. I've sold a couple of them that are single piece knife. No, one that was a single piece knife. He gave them to me as a gift, and he says I can do whatever I want with them. And I sold them in one of the auctions. Jesse, $5 super chat. Fish bait. Sweet. I got places that I've set up in my backyard. Two places where I have compost. So there's lots of worms in the compost. So I'm all set with that. Big old night crawlers. Ken Winton says Danish dagger, yeah. A couple of choice pieces of obsidian and some cigars from me in the gift unboxing. Yeah. Hawthorn or honey locust thorn, says Jimmy Stonehenge. Yeah, you can use whatever works. Whatever doesn't get soft in water. See, this stone or seashell or horn or whatever, that's not going to get dull. No, it's not going to get soft in water and get all bendy and breakable. You got to make sure you're using wood that does not become bendy and breakable when you submerge it in water. Aaron says $9.99 super chat. Keep up the good work, brother. Thank you. Ross Wellman is here. Hey. What else? Who else? You can use little pieces of copper for fish hooks. I think there were some copper fish hooks made in the copper culture. In North America had a copper culture. I think there might have been some fish hooks made of that stuff. Let me see. Were copper fish hooks made in the copper culture in North America in pre-Columbian times? Let me see what the answer to that one is. Let's see, were copper fish hooks made in the copper culture of North America in pre-Columbian times? Let's ask Grok. Yes. Copper fish hooks were made by people of the Old Copper culture, also called the Old Copper Complex, in the Great Lakes region, North America, during pre-Columbian times. Okay. Hey, Kai gave me $19.99 for trailer fund. Okay, so it says these were utilitarian tools produced by cold and hot hammering nearly pure native or float mined copper into shape, typically by curving a copper rod and sharpening the point. They range in size from 2.5 to 17 centimeters and occur alongside other copper fishing gear such as harpoons and gorges. Fishing was an important standard items in old copper artifact inventories in museums, etc. Old copper culture associated with the Great Lakes area, Wisconsin, blah, blah, blah. Okay. With evidence beginning by roughly 9,500 to 8,500 years ago. So, what did they? This is a fantasy hook, but they made fish hooks out of copper. Native Americans. Okay. This is well documented in archaeological literature and collections. The hooks are indigenous products of native copper technology, not later introductions. Okay, so there you go. Other people might not say that, and the internet culture might, lose their minds, or their heads might explode with that knowledge, but that's what the truth is. There are copper fish hooks in the archaeological record, made by Native Americans before any Europeans came over. Okay? Yeah. This stone stuff is a European fantasy. This right here. But they're fun. I think they're fun. Yeah. Anyways, what are we going to do? It's a challenge night. Okay. But I did not do a rock to point on Monday. I'm probably going to do a rock to point right now. What's a rock to point? Start with a rock and make a point. And I'm going to use a template. Yeah, Martin says spending an hour on a stone hook then losing it would suck. Much easier to make something else, But, I spent an hour because I was explaining some stuff. I started with a bigger piece. I can start with a little flake next time. I can make a little fish hook for a little panfish out of little flakes like this. As long as it's thick enough. This might not be thick enough, but I just take little flakes and make little fish hooks out of flakes. So it shouldn't take me more than maybe 20 minutes per fish hook. Yeah. All right, so let's see. But yeah, it does take time, and it'd be pretty bad if I lost a lot of fish hooks. It's a lot of time spent just making this stuff. So I got templates. I'm going to use one of these templates for the rock to point. I made a bunch of templates. Do I make an andice? No, I'm not going to make an andice on video. Not yet, anyway. I got to get better at them notches. And this is the Clovis form. So we're narrowing it down a lot. Do I make a Jetta? I want to make a Jetta eventually. Am I going to have enough room? I might have enough room on this. I might have enough room for this. So let's do that. Let's shoot for that, and if not, I'll make like a Langtree. These are supposed to be really, really thin too, so either one of these, Langtree or Jetta, I'm going to make tonight. No complex notching, although there's some delicate areas. Okay, so here we go. Let's see. Hopefully this is going to be good. Yeah, and hopefully I'll be able to use a substantial part of this. We shall see. I have other rocks in the stash that I have if this does not work out. Okay, this is Texas ranch rock. It comes from private property on a ranch in Texas. I can already see that we may be into trouble here, but we'll see. Might get into trouble with this one. Yeah, I guess there's some damage here on this side. You can never tell with these surface collected rocks. This was collected in Texas, but we still have, there is still freeze and thaw cycles in Texas. So it affects the stone. And I think some of these surface stones were affected by wildfires also. That does that to the stone. I don't know. You know, quick heat and cool. Quick heat and cooling cycles on stone cause that kind of fracturing. It's kind of fracturing. Yeah, looks like it's got some damage. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think we're out of luck with this one. I don't think I can shave off all that nasty. All that nasty broken up stuff. Let's see if we have another rock. See, when it starts getting thin, I can't use any of that stuff because it'll snap. If there's any weakness in the stone, it'll snap as it gets thin. Yeah, this is not usable. Okay. Let's see, what do we have? We got this one. You might be able to do something with it. Yeah. This one might work. This is, like I said, this is ranch rock we get on private property in Texas. Me and some of my friends. This is very similar to the chicken poop stuff that I was napping yesterday. It's similar material. They're not quite the same, but it's similar. It naps well as long as there's no crystal pockets like this in here, and as long as there's no concrete. This is a nice flake. So where can I fit this Jetta? Well, we're just going to try to maximize it, and then we'll figure it out later. I'm just going to try to flatten it and maximize it. How do I do that? It's for me to nap and you to find out. Sweet. You might be in luck with this piece. Yeah, I don't see any damage anywhere. Nice flakes. I'm gonna save those. I'll make sure I save the high grade ones. This not good. Not good. Some of these are not good. It's not good pieces. This one's nah. That Trasciola pudding. But this is nice. I think I might start wearing these high-powered glasses for my videos, because I think it's easier for you guys to see what I'm doing, and easier for me to see what I'm doing. I just had to get used to this high-powered glasses thing when I'm doing this particular stage. It's a different feel. You gotta be careful with those strikes. You gotta hit it just right. So you're gonna see a lot of misses. I'd rather miss it than hit it wrong the first strike. If I hit it wrong with the first strike, it might look like I know what I'm doing, but just because I don't hit it on the first strike doesn't mean that I'm doing it wrong. I'm trying to preserve the piece by only knocking off just what I need, just barely what I need. We have enough room for a decent sized Jetta. We're going to lose some length, but at least I don't have to make it that long. I can make it this wide, but maybe not that long. And if it breaks, we'll just make something else. Someone says I got to learn where. Eric Kitty says she's got to learn where to buy sinew. It depends on what kind of sinew you want. Leg sinew or backstrap. The easiest way that I've found to buy sinew is buy them from a deer processor. Ask them to save the silver skins for you, and how much would that cost? The silver skins off of the backstrap. They might call it something else, but you just say, when you're cleaning the backstrap and taking the tendon off the backstrap, what do you do with that waste? You grind it in the sausage, or you just toss it out? Or what do you do with that? If you toss it out, can I have it, or can I buy it from you? The easiest way to buy sinew is from a processor, but there are people on eBay and Etsy that sell sinew already processed. Like they dry it, they wash it, they make sure there's no grease or meat on the sinew. It's expensive, more expensive than if you just buy silver skins frozen from a deer processor. You have to process it yourself, take off the fat and meat yourself. There's some time involved, but if you're on a budget, buy the sinew from a processor or a taxidermist. A taxidermist sometimes will have a connection to a processor. Well, not sometimes. A taxidermist always has a connection to a deer processor. At least one. Or become a taxidermist yourself. Yeah. Or become a deer processor. Even better. Eric Kitty, what does the O.O mean? I don't think I've seen that abbreviation before. And if I have, I don't remember. So what am I doing now? Well, the first stage is done. The easy part's done. Right? I went from rock to biface. I should put the stages up there. But yeah, bifacing stage 1. Stages. I've done the first stage. That's it, right? I've got my template. We're going to be using the template to guide ourselves to make this style of point. It's called a Jetta. From Texas. Kind of like a Paternalis, but it's very wonky and very thin. These guys make chaotic type points. Random flaking. The bases are sometimes misaligned with the blade. They made them, I think, quickly. But they made them very thin. Yeah. Which makes it interesting for people to watch. People want to see thinness when they're watching Flintknapping. Let's see. Owl eyes. Joby Martins, I'm good at reading the stone lines and you make it look so easy. Yeah, I've had a lot of practice. All right, so we go get down to a smaller bopper and let's see what else we can do before we switch over to indirect percussion. We're going to do the second stage now. We're on the second stage, which is the preliminary thinning. So I can use either a bopper or indirect percussion or both. I'm using copper these days because it's a lot easier. But I've used steel and aluminum. One of these days I'll start using brass just to get people ticked off at me. Yep. I do it on purpose. By design. If people are ticked off at me, sometimes it's by design. Yeah. As long as it's the correct people being ticked off, I'm happy. Yeah. Okay, come on. That didn't do it. I'm not good enough with the bopper to get that kind of strike correct. I'll fix it a little bit later. All right, so part of the preliminary thinning is done. I'm going to do the rest with indirect percussion because I get mistakes like that and I'm not able to correct that with a bopper. Not usually. I can try, but sometimes I remove way too much material when I try to do damage control with a bopper. Come on. Yeah, it didn't go in. It didn't go that way. It went straight in. And I lost a lot. But it's okay. Right? We still got room. I'll just make it shorter. We still got room for the wings and the stem. Shoot it down this way. Yeah, I can shoot it down that way, but I'll use indirect percussion. Okay, so I'm going to get ready for indirect percussion. Let's see. Stola says, you ever consider leaving these around national parks to mess with archaeologists? Nope, nope, nope. Archaeologists already mess with themselves. We don't need to mess with them anymore. They already get too many things wrong anyway. And besides, it's unethical to leave these laying around. It's unethical. Okay? Some people don't care about ethics. I know. But I consider that a no-no. And most people would say that's stupid, which it is, to leave these things around to mess with archaeologists or mess with anybody. It'll mess with anybody. Unless they know what they're looking at. It's very hard to tell sometimes whether it's a modern-made thing or not. Okay? It's very hard sometimes. Especially when the modern-made stuff is not high grade. If it looks like a high-grade modern point, then yeah, it's easy to tell it's modern. But the lower-grade modern ones look very similar to the real thing. Believe it or not. Most artifacts are utilitarian or not perfectly made. So that they look like bad quality modern stuff. We're still on stage 2, still at the preliminary thinning. I'll let you know, I'll clean this area up when we're at the final thinning stage. This is still not that difficult. If I make a mistake, like right here, I still have the ability to clean it up and not lose too much material. Or I still have enough material to deal with that stuff, I should say. Like that, see? I think that went right there, yeah. Broke off that. But I hit that area and knocked it out of there. Yeah. I gotta do this now. I have tutorials on how I knap, so if you want to look at the explanations for all this, just look for my videos that have the word tutorial or instructional in the title or in the thumbnail. I have many videos that describe this in detail. And this is Texas rock. And yeah, I got it for free. I know where to look on private property. There's still areas of Texas that are private property that have this kind of stone on the surface. I say in about 20 years, even those spots are going to be mostly dried up. If Flintknapping keeps growing the way it's growing, it's going to be harder and harder to find rocks like this on the surface. You're going to have to start mining it, like I said earlier. Digging it up. There's still millions of tons of this under the ground in the United States. But it's not easy to get to. Okay, preliminary thinning is done. So we did this first stage and the second stage. Now we're on the third stage, which is the hardest one of all of Flintknapping. This is the hardest one, the secondary thinning. But we can switch this around and do the notching and edging so that we can get this stem done. This stem is kind of wild looking. I can do that first before I do the rest of the blade, if you want. Or I can do everything else and then put in the stem after. I usually do the thinning and stuff first and then put the stem in. But I can do it the other way too. If I do it the other way, I can kind of make the stem cockeyed and not aligned with the blade. If I put the stem in first, it can be offset from the blade itself. But you know, that's something that I haven't done on video. I'm thinking about doing that. I don't know. It would take more time. I've got like 15 minutes. It's easier if I just thin it down first. Yeah. Instead of doing that other stuff. It prevents the if you get better at putting the stem in first, it helps to prevent the snap in half-ish type thing. When you put the stem in first, it helps prevent snapping it in half. That's the whole purpose, I think, of putting in the stem first. You know, you can use some heavy-duty percussion to create the stem when it's still real thick up here on the blade, and it won't snap in half. You can hit as much as you want on the base, almost as much as you want, and put the stem in and do it really aggressively, and you won't snap it in half usually. But if you thin it first and then you aggressively attack the stem, yeah, you'll increase your chance of snapping it in half. But I just won't aggressively put in the stem. Yeah, I'll just do it carefully. That's the secret. But it just won't look like an artifact, which is okay. It's not that good to look exactly like the artifacts because I don't want these to get confused with the real ones. Yeah. So this is I'm doing the final thinning and edging at the same time, keeping in mind that I don't need these corners on this for the Jetta. I got to remove a lot of material. So I'm going to be doing that. It's not going to be as long, but I've got plenty of room for the barbs and the stem. Oh yes. So I'm going to be taking some material off of there at the same time using that to thin it. It's much easier to do these stems and these barbs with a thin lower portion. So I'm going to use that extra material to thin down that lower portion. Yeah, like that. Yeah, like that. Yeah. I like it when it's cooperating. This is still tough raw stone. Might look easy, but this is the sweat stage. I'm sweating right now. I should turn on the fan. But it's like 65 degrees in here. We've had some cool nights. I'm still sweating, even at 65 degrees, because this is the part where it can break easily. Let's just see where I'm at here. I am going to be concerned mainly with the stem. It's the hardest part to get correct. I just want to see where I'm at. Okay. I'm going to make sure I don't go too narrow on this. Yeah, a lot of grinding involved. I might not talk during this period because I'm trying to focus. Yeah. I see a crack. A crack already. And that's not good. I gotta make sure that's removed before anything else. Dang, it's a big one. It's gonna mess with the symmetry. Where is it? See, that's a radial crack. That is part of what I did. It's not a natural crack, I don't think. I think it's one of those radial cracks. There's not only conchoidal fracture, but there's radial fractures. I try to avoid those by not hitting the edge really, really hard, but sometimes hitting the edge hard is unavoidable. It's still in there. That's going to mess up the symmetry. Okay. I put the template down somewhere where I can't see it. Yeah, we're starting to lose width fast. But I think we can still do it. Yeah. This is one of the reasons why you want to keep a lot of width to begin with. So if I don't get rid of that crack, it will open up and go across. Because I'm still doing percussion on it. Percussion causes just the right amount of shock to ruin the whole thing. You still have to deal with shock with, even the way I do indirect percussion, which is to shock the piece the least amount, the way I do it, it still will shock the piece enough to break it. And the reason why it hasn't broken yet is because I'm not shocking the piece all that much with this technique. If I was using another technique, that would have already opened up and went across. You know, if I had to hold this and brace it, because it's shocking it a lot, hold it and brace it, I would have probably already snapped it. But see, I'm just barely holding onto it while I'm hitting it. I'm not gripping it really tight. I don't think I got under it, but I'm trying to get underneath that crack. But you can see it's still in there. It's got to be removed. I cannot have it in there. The most important thing is the crack cannot be touching the edge. Right now it's not so bad because I got under the crack near the edge. I think that's, yeah, I think it's only existing right there now. It's not touching the edge, I don't think. So I think we're safe. As long as it's not touching the edge, we're not too much in danger of it running across. Okay. Yikes. I'm not doing very well on this tip. Another radio crack. Yeah. There's another radio crack up here. See that? It's not a step fracture, that's a radio crack. So this stuff, unfortunately, is prone to that kind of cracking. There's no way to avoid it. You just gotta depend on luck. Hopefully I won't get that much cracking everywhere else. So we're getting smaller. That's okay. In the book, there's some smaller ones than this, so we're okay. We're within size range. Yeah, but we're just barely wide enough. And yeah, these had big old stems on them, but the blades were not that big usually. I can reduce the size of the stem so that I can increase the width of the notch, width of the barbs. Let's see here, what's in the chat. Jimmy Acog, I live on an early man site in Central Texas. A lot of artifacts I find are quite crude. In your opinion, are they incomplete or just very primitive? Just very, they're utilitarian. We call them utilitarian, which means they're just made for function and not for looks. So they're fully made. Central Texas is famous for the most beautiful and workable flint in the world, combined with some of the crudest artifacts ever seen. Yeah, but they're just made for function and not looks. It's ironic that some of the best chert and flint in the world was used for some of the crudest looking points. And I think it was just because they were just functional. And they had a lot of material available, so they weren't worried. They just made a bunch of stuff. They didn't have to make their items perfect because they had just very limited material. They had lots of material, so the items didn't need to be even perfect function. They didn't need to be perfectly functional because they had lots of material available to make more. If there wasn't that functional, just make another one. So we've pretty much finished, almost finished with the stage 3. Right now I'm combining this stage 3 and 4 together because I'm starting to do the notching along with the secondary thinning. I'm starting to combine these two stages. Yeah, this stuff is prone to these little mistakes. Diving flakes, radial cracks. It's a high-grade chert. And high-grade cherts will amplify mistakes. Like when I hit here, I thought I was going to be smart and remove that mess, but instead it dived in. So it's notorious. Some of this chert and flint is notorious for that sort of thing. I'm not going to say famous because it's not a good thing. So notorious. It's notorious for that kind of thing. This ranch rock, I need to get that out of there. That's a weak spot. I need to see how far that has dived down in there. So we got a ways to go still. Okay, I can clear that out. Yes, yes. I'm going to try to keep as much width as I can on these barbs. That's what kind of makes these distinctive, is the very wide flaring barbs. So I'll make the base shorter, the stem shorter, just to keep the barbs wide. But on the real ones, these barbs are very thin. I had a chance to view a bunch of Jettas from a collection that a friend of mine allowed me to examine. These are not like Pedernales. Pedernales are very carefully made. In many cases, the Jettas are all chaotic. Yeah. But they're thinner, which is weird. I think they were just going with the flow on the thinning on these. Wherever it would get thin, that's what they settled on. Instead of trying to make them look a special way. Yeah, let's see. We're not going to get this perfect. We're going to get close. We're going to get it close to the template, but not perfect. You got some crystal pockets right there. So what am I going to do about this weak spot? There's not much I can do. I can just leave it. It's been minimized. So just same with the crack up on here. It's been minimized. But that's a defect that can ruin our day. Same with this. It could ruin our day. That's a weak spot that if I hit too hard in here, it can snap right across. Okay. All right, I have to focus now on not breaking this. I have to focus very carefully on not breaking it. It's starting to develop a curve, so I got to take that out. So I got to drop the tip this way, remove this, because it's starting to develop a curve. See that? This is scooped out too much right there. So I got to take this off. Yep. Now I just took off, the last one was here. So that was good. But yeah, I got to thin this way down. I think I'm going to lose some more length. Hopefully not too much length. So I think I lost just the right amount on that side. Now I got to work on this lumpy area. Yeah, I think if I just thin down this lumpy area here, it'll be straight. Yep. So I move the edge toward that lumpy area. I probably won't not have time to sharpen this Jetta on this video, but at least you can see the basic shape. I'll do the stem in the basic overall shape. And the thinning. And then call it good. I'm already over my time. But that's okay. I took a nap today late, so I am not sleepy yet. Yeah, one good thing about living by yourself, you can take a nap whenever you want. So I took a nap late because I wasn't feeling well. I did my shopping, and then I came back and I said, man, I don't feel good. Go to sleep. And then I woke up. Wait, what day is it? I don't even remember what day it is I slept so good during that nap. Okay, this is this. We're still in the sweat stage where something can go drastically wrong. I got to maintain the basic blade shape. So it's got this weird shape. It kind of reminds me of a shark. Yeah, I got to not hit it all that hard because I can't afford any radial cracks at this stage. So by not hitting it hard, I get some of these step fractures because it doesn't have enough power to complete. But if I hit really, really hard, it could create one of those other one of those other cracks. And I don't want any more of these. This is from hitting it really, really hard. So if I back off, this is what happens. Sometimes these step fractures don't go far enough. These flakes don't go far enough and they create step fractures. Yeah. But that's the trade-off. I got a slight crack here on this one. By hitting it really, really hard. So this material has a tendency to not like the aggressive thinning. It does not like the aggressive thinning. And that's the way I nap. I nap very aggressively when I thin, usually. So it creates a challenge. But these Jetta points, the real ones, are very thin. And they are made of material similar to this in many cases. Although the Jettas I've seen, at least one that I remember, is made from a non-translucent high-grade shirt. Kind of like the one that yellow bandy I made on that last auction. I think the Jetta I've seen was similar to that material. because they were able to get big, long flakes on it. You can't get big, narrow, long flakes on poor material. There we go. And no cracks on the edge. Now that one was a pressure assist. I did put pressure on it to assist the length of that flake. But it's risky because it can go too far. Let's see. So that's, I don't need to get it much thinner than this. So I'm going to be going into the edging now, edging and notching in a stem formation. And then final finishing, there may be some damage control, which also includes thinning down certain areas. Okay, but the hardest part of all the flint knapping I just finished up. That last flake right there was the one I was hoping to get to thin it down nice and tapered. Now it's a matter of doing the details. Yep. Okay. I'm still going to do some percussion on this for sure. Like I'm going to do one more percussion flake here with the smaller rod. I'm going to set up most of my percussion now with the pressure flaker. Yeah, during the less vital stages, I set up the edges with the abrader. But now I'll be sculpting the edges more with the pressure flaker. Man, that stem. It's a big long stem. But it's not very wide. I don't have much room. I thought it wasn't very wide, but it is wide. Just the central notch is also pretty wide. I'm going to leave it kind of chaotic and wonky. Yeah. Okay, so the barbs they droop down a little bit. So instead of sweeping upwards, they're going to be drooping down. So I got to change the contour of the barbs to be straighter down below and more droopy above. And I don't like to have those incomplete flakes there at the bottom of the notch. So I got to pick those out. I'm reaching the limit of my ability to pop those out cleanly. Yeah. Anyways, let's see. So bottom of the knot, bottom of these barbs is straight. And I'm going to make it droop down. When sharpening. Still got a lot of edge to work with. These are constricted here in the center part. Probably for thinning. So I don't know. I don't think I need to do much more on the base. Or the stem, yeah. Except make these a little more bow-legged. And maybe a little thinner. Yikes. Make these feet a little bit more narrow and thinner. Or just a little more narrow, maybe. They're actually kind of sharp. Or they're kind of pointy down here. I'll show you in the book. I guess I'll look in the book here in a minute. Yeah, I do have the book. I brought the book inside, but I did remember to bring it back out. That got a little crunchy. All right, let's look in the book. JKL. So these are Jettas. Okay, and the pattern I made was going for this one here. That one's similar to. Okay, so they're kind of chaotic. So I'm thinking that these feet were pointed like this, but some of them are rounded off. Yeah, they're not all like this here. Some of these are rounded. And I can make this narrow. I can make the stem more narrow. Straighter on the sides. And not so bow-legged like that. Yeah. But I got plenty of room on the blade. See how the blade gets kind of narrow right away? Okay. Jetta. Yeah. Okay, so let's see. So it's okay if it's not so bow-legged. Yeah. Yeah, these are all kind of chaotic. There's no set way to do the stem. So whatever. Okay. I can call the stem good. And then I just got to thin down and sharpen the blade a little bit. Let me thin it down and then put a point, but I won't sharpen it. Yeah. It gives me some room to take out that crack. Still have some remnants of the crack on that side. Let's see. Yeah. So I'm just going to shape the edge now a little bit. Yeah, very pointy. I'm going to shape this and then grind it in some areas for the final thinning flakes. I'm just causing the edge to be more convex. I'm getting rid of some of the lumps that are going to be in the way of thinning. If it's too thick near the edge, it messes with the convexity. Okay, so I'm going to do some more thinning flakes with percussion and then call it good. I think in general the Jettas are very thin. Right? Let's see what it says. It's a very distinctive, carefully flaked point with widely flared barbs, rectangular stem, and a deep basal notch. The body or distal portions Jetta points are often have parallel to parallel oblique flaking and are beveled, giving a slightly twisted form. Often confused with paternalis points, occasionally have deeply concave base. So I did not put a bevel in it, but I can start. I mean, I can put a little bit of a bevel near the tip because the blade is already kind of wavy. So I can do the beveling on this side and that side. Yeah. I didn't know about the bevel. So let's see what we can do. I knew about the parallel flaking, but I did not know about the beveling. Or I had forgotten. Yeah, I don't think there'll be parallel flaking, although I will try to do some of the regular or sequential type flaking. I'll try to put in a slight twist. So when I run some passes on the edges with pressure, I'll try to get, especially on this side, I'll try to get the flaking to look more parallel. It's not going to be easy on this side because it's kind of wonky. Yeah. I don't know what happened there. I don't need to do too much on this side. Big old copper metal mark right there. A little bit better. Yeah. So I just got to sharpen it. I'll do a little bit of sharpening up here. Come on. It's not going to do it. Okay. I got to do the sharpening thing. Switch to the other flaker. Better idea. Yeah, like that. Yeah, I guess I can sharpen. The Jetta have, well, it doesn't have jaggedy edges. Okay. So I'm just removing little bitty flakes so I don't mess up that flake pattern. And yeah, I'm doing it for looks, yeah. But that's how you sharpen beveled edges anyway. You just take off little bitty flakes. You don't need big flakes for that. Come on. Yeah, I don't want to take off big flakes and mess up the flake pattern. So I'm going to check. Right, so it has a little bit of twist. Yeah. So, you know, this side is not as good as this side as far as the longer flakes. But it's okay. Yeah. On the real Jettas, they've got long flakes going in through here, right? More like this, but a little bit longer sometimes. But to get those, I would need to set those up specifically. So the more of these that I do, the longer the flakes get. But I got to set up that convexity. I can't just run long flakes just anywhere. It's got to have good convexity. That's it. Let's see how does it match the pattern. The barbs are actually a little bit longer and more droopy. I'm not that far off. Yeah. I put this in because I saw some of the edges kind of haphazard, but looking in the book, they're more straight than this. So I'm gonna have to tone down these edges on the template. But anyway, there it is. How does it look hafted? I'm glad you asked. Let's see, what time is it? I went 3 hours on this live stream. It's okay because I'm not tired. Yeah. I have a feeling I'll be up for another hour or so. So that's perfectly hidden down in the haft if it's going to be a knife, which I think these are projectile points. So on a big projectile, let's see. No, let's do our favorite. It's a bit too wide for our favorite. This was, most of the points I make are this, or fit into this size, but it looks like a little bit too big for that. But it might work. What else? This was a little bit wider. Yeah, it's still kind of big. Is it big for the type in the book? It might be a little bit big for the type in the book. Yeah, it's a little bit bigger than these. But we're pretty close. I guess it's just wide barbs. I made the barbs extra wide on this. Yeah. I think that's what makes it look a little bit out of proportion for a projectile point. Might look better as a knife. Yeah. Kind of looks better as a knife. Who knows? Maybe this is beveled that way because it's a knife. I don't know. I would have to do something like this. And this big old notch in there, it increases the surface area for the glue. That's why they put a big notch in there. That's what I think. So it would look good as a knife, I think. Yeah. Just like that. So that's what I would do. I would have it as a knife, although I think I've seen impact fractures on these, so they were used for everything, I think. At little dart points or knives. Yeah. Except we just need a little bit bigger top on the little dart point. If I'm going to keep this that wide. Yeah. But the width is, if it's really wide, it's a knife. In my opinion, if it's really wide, it's a knife. Okay, so there you go. It's not as thin as the real ones, I don't think. But I don't know. I don't remember exactly. Okay. That's it. I'm going to say goodnight. I'm going to check the chat and chat for a little bit and then say goodnight. Make sure I put everything away and don't lose it. Don't want to lose my templates. Yeah, I'm gonna make a couple of these off camera, these end dices, and then once I get better at the notching, I'll do one on video. Try not to cheat too much on the notching. Yeah, this will be available in the auction. And I'm not going to do anything else. I did end up sharpening it, so it's sharpened and everything. Yep, made from ranch rock. Okay, so we got 2 items. We made 2 items tonight in 3-hour live stream. These are very similar rock types. There it is. Nice. It's got fossils or something. I don't think it has fossils. I just think it has a lot of imperfections. And this one here, very translucent. Yeah. Cool. Okay. Got plenty of subject material for a thumbnail. So yeah, copper hooks were more plentiful than chert or flint hooks back in the day. All right. The copper, I mean, yeah, the copper's more actually more common than this type of hook, which I don't think they ever made this type back in the day. Okay. And I kept it thick because these things break. Some people might think, oh, that's not thin enough to be an effective hook. You got to take into account that those things can break easy. It's not like high strength steel. Yes, I have made the fish hook. Jeff Jin says, thanks for the demonstration. You're welcome. You're welcome. Let's see what else we got. Put a flashlight direct on it. Trust me. Yeah. The shaft is supposed to sit inside the haft. The shaft is supposed to sit inside the haft. What does that mean? Thanks for the overtime. You're welcome. Says, yeah, Alan Cole says, thanks for the overtime. You're welcome. Is there any point that you can't make? You're good. I love watching. The points I cannot make a fulsome that's really thin. I can make a thick fulsome, but I can't make a really thin one. I think I'm going to have to use a jig to make the fulsomes if I ever make one. And the Cumberlands, you know, I've tried making those and they break, so I'll probably have to use a jig for a Cumberland. Those two, the Folsom and Cumberlands, I probably have to use a jig, and they might have used jigs back in the day too. TJ is in the house. TJ in Seoul. Let's see. Who else did I miss? Joby says, my grandpa is part Mohegan. Very few of her indigenous... Grandma is part Mohegan. Very few of her indigenous tribe left. There was a few who hid among other tribes. Yes, yes. Sweet point. Thank you very much. Let's see. Part Scottish from the other lands. Might have Scottish people on the shore. Also part Cherokee. I think the Overstreet guide, right, has a fish hook, picture of fish hooks. You could take a screenshot of both of those right now, I guess. Stoneface still doesn't know what book it is. I think he's kidding. Okay, I'm gonna say goodnight. I don't see questions here. Thanks for the demonstration. You're welcome. All right. That's it. Oops. Yeah, see you tomorrow night. Tomorrow's a Friday night live, and we're going to be doing bird points. Yeah, small little ones. Small points, bird point Friday. Okay, we'll see you then. See you then. And take care. Bye-bye.